Hello, everyone. My name is Liudmila Arcimaviciene, and I'm from Vilnius University to talk about the project my colleagues and I have been involved in since 2020 October. And let me share my screen with you so that I could give you some more detail in a more illustrative manner. Okay, here we go. The title of this project is New Methodological Approaches to Teaching about Disinformation Discourses in Lithuanian High Schools and Universities. This project is funded by US Embassy, and the participants of this project are my colleagues, Dr. Adam Mastrandrea, Vitalija Kubaitine, and Dr. Roma Kliučiūnienė from Vilnius University, and me, Liudmila Arcimaviciene. Okay, so we have been thinking for a while what is happening right now around us, and we decided together that it is necessary to offer new methodologies to schools and universities how we can teach disinformation discourses. And in my today's presentation, I will focus on one specific genre that I will be using with my students at university, my graduate students, and also my colleague Vitalija will be using with her students at school. And this is the genre of a conspiracy. And we use this specific genre as an example of disinformation discourses and how it can be used as a teaching material. And it will be used, the method, we will use it together with our students in different project activities, while students in teams will have to come up with the project presentation, and that will help them to raise their critical awareness of disinformation discourses and also definitely improve their language skills. That is our main goal. We have been working on a method of how to analyze disinformation discourses, and we came up with a more interdisciplinary approach that can be used in the classroom. We use the findings of studies from psychology, political science, sociology, information sciences, and the humanities that we represent to come up with a very specific methodology of how this can be done. Also, we decided to choose conspiracy as an example of a narrative because conspiracy narratives ranging in many different topics. We can focus on such as science, health, environment, immigration, politics, racism, etc. The methodology that we will be offering mainly will focus on the content analysis of text. And by using that methodology, students will not only raise their critical awareness of what a conspiracy is, but also will improve their language skills. Now, we need to come up with a definition, a working definition of what a conspiracy narrative is. Let's start with the concept of a narrative. In easy terms, a narrative, we can define it as a storyline that is communicated through a set of language features. And what is specific of a conspiracy narrative? So first of all, this narrative has already become a part of our attitudes as a system of beliefs that cannot be easily changed. That is a real threat of a conspiracy in a certain way. And the main semantic feature or idea of a conspiracy narrative is that it focuses on or it highlights an idea of a secret plotting of powerful agents against the majority of the people in a country or a certain social group. It's always interesting to observe why people tend to be involved in conspiracy narratives, and there are so many factors for that. And while working on our methodology, we also learned that these factors can be actually recognized in a conspiracy narrative itself. So some factors are psychological, so people have different psychological motives. Also, there is a sort of motivated reasoning, which has become a consequence of certain political factors or demographic factors in the country. We'll be discussing them together as well when I discuss methodology in more detail. So how are we going to measure a conspiracy narrative? So, as I defined at the beginning, that we have to find out evidence how conspiracy beliefs are expressed in discourse, and we have to measure the discourse. One of the easiest ways to do that is to analyze social media and the comments on social media. This is what we are going to do with our students. Or more straightforward way is just talk to the people by conducting surveys about that. And less straightforward way, but also very useful, is critical engagement in text analysis. And this text can be collected from different sources. And this kind of measurement we'll be offering to our students as well. Why do we have to get our students involved in conspiracy theories and narratives? First of all, there are definitely long-term consequences of such narratives. And as in any situation, they're both positive and negative. The positive are that we can recognize and identify with, that people definitely start discussing things. So the people try to understand society and their political reality, which is good. At the same time, most of conspiracy narratives, they are expressing distrust in government. So governments, in a way, are encouraged to become more transparent. However, we have to consider the negative attitudes, which are more long-term and much more negative. The negative outcomes are that, first of all, they change people's attitudes about science. People start having less trust in science, in the social structures in which they live. Also, conspiracy narratives, which as a kind of a disinformation discourse, they definitely create a lot of prejudice, a lot of negative attitudes about different social groups. They also lead to physical violence, not only communicative violence, but physical and extremism. And what can be done about that are these consequences that I just discussed about. And the role of education is becoming crucial. So if students at schools and universities are taught how to recognize these narratives, they become more involved in them, and they can recognize them. So they definitely not so easily manipulated by them, and they have a kind of resistance to them, and they have a different attitude to them. So that's why education is a perfect platform how to provide students, how to develop student skills to recognize this kind of narratives and to deal with them. Now, let me conclude my short introduction of my today's presentation, in which I was trying to tell you some, to overview some general issues we're going to deal with during our project. So first of all, there are many motives why people are involved or get engaged in disinformation discourses. And in our project with our students, we will recognize these motives by also analyzing our data. These motives can be political, psychological, social. And we also discussed today very shortly how conspiracy narratives affect individuals and also society in general. And when they become widely spread, they tend people's attitudes to their society. There is more distrust in their society and definitely more violence. So one of the best ways how we can deal with them is to recognize them and to be critically aware of them. And this can be done through education. And we're going to teach our students how to use the methodology of textual analysis to recognize the features of disinformation discourses, and how to measure them and be aware of them and resist this kind of negativity that is usually central in a conspiracy narrative. Thank you very much for listening to this project. And in my next presentation, I will share with you a specific set of guidelines of how we analyzing a conspiracy narrative or in kind of disinformation discourse. What are the specific steps, what you should do, and what are the specific features of a conspiracy narrative. I'll give you a few examples and provide you with specific guidelines. Thank you very much. Please tune in next time for our next video where you learn more about the steps of analysis. See you later. Bye.